At Jost, all our drivers are trained in eco-driving. Here, the driver anticipates the downhill section and the roundabout, using engine braking by downshifting to avoid unnecessary use of the brakes. By always looking far ahead, a driver can anticipate potential obstacles and dangers. Here, the driver detects fallen tree debris on the road, checks the mirrors, and signals the lane change. Avoid the obstacle safely and the signals again before returning to the original lane. As the driver approaches the roundabout, extra caution is required. Plastic bollards at both the entry and exit reduce maneuvering space. A truck with a trailer needs far more room than a car, and blind spots increase during turns, so the trailer must always be considered when entering and exiting the roundabout. Here, the driver must pay close attention to the driving line, as there are concrete barriers along the roadside. These barriers limit the ability to change lanes quickly in case of an obstacle. For example, if a vehicle from the opposite lanes comes too close to the truck in its lane. In this situation, the driver notices a truck stop on the roadside and changes lanes as a precaution to avoid any risk if the driver steps out unexpectedly. The mirrors are checked, the lane change is signaled, and the same safe process is followed when returning to the lane. When entering a roundabout, a driver always remains aware of blind spots and continuously checks both left and right throughout the maneuver. In this situation, the driver must remain extremely alert. The plastic bollards influence the trajectory. A vehicle on the left may try to pass despite yielding, and the right lane must also be monitored at all times. In this situation, speed control is essential. The road descends into a sharp curve with a blind exit, requiring the driver to remain highly attentive to avoid any surprise at the end of the turn. This is an example of a tight curve without a blind exit. Even so, the driver must remain attentive to both speed and trajectory, always considering the trailer during the turn. In this situation, the driver checks the bridge height using the clearance sign on the right. If the truck and trailer exceed the permitted height, the driver anticipates and turns right to avoid the restriction. Here, the driver must be extremely vigilant for several reasons. There's a railway level crossing, and two vehicles are stopped in the driving lane due to road work. The driver therefore needs to move into the left lane, which is normally used by oncoming traffic. Close attention is required to traffic ahead, and the left mirror must also be carefully checked when merging back into the original lane. Here, the driver must anticipate both the turn and the driving approach, as the space on this bridge is very narrow. One truck and one car can pass at the same time in opposite directions, but two trucks cannot, requiring careful anticipation and positioning. Here, the driver must anticipate the trajectory in advance, as the usual road layout has been changed due to road work, which is clearly indicated by the different signs. The driver needs to turn right while carefully taking the trailer's movement into account through the curve. In this situation, the driver anticipates the priority lane on the left by reading the yield sign. Using engine braking allows a smooth merge without hard braking, improving fuel efficiency through eco-driving and reducing brake wear. The driver anticipates manhole covers and avoids them when possible. Hitting them with a loaded truck could cause damage to both the road surface and the cargo, even if it is properly secured. The driver anticipates a vehicle emerging from a completely hidden access with no signage. Extra attention is required to adjust speed and be ready to react safely. The driver anticipates the presence of a cyclist who is slower than the truck. The overtake is carried out safely, and the right mirror is checked before pulling back in to avoid destabilizing the cyclist due to the trailer's airflow. Here, the driver anticipates upcoming roadworks and an unexpected red traffic light. Speed is adjusted in advance to account for reduced lane width, possible changes in traffic flow, and the reactions of other road users. This anticipation helps avoid harsh braking and ensures a smooth, controlled stop. Here, the driver is driving through a tunnel and must be extremely vigilant when approaching the exit. As you can see, visibility is strongly reduced due to sudden changes in light conditions. Approaching the roundabout, the driver already has to stay focused, checking blind spots, watching traffic, and preparing for the exit. Right after the roundabout, roadworks begin. The lane narrows, space becomes limited, and the driver must closely monitor the mirrors and oncoming traffic. Here's the problem. While the truck is already committed to the narrowed section, another truck coming from the opposite direction keeps moving instead of waiting. To avoid a collision, the driver has to adjust the trajectory and come to a complete stop. Here, the driver constantly checks the mirrors while driving. This is a natural habit that helps maintain awareness of the surroundings and anticipate risks.